Mm, 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 mm.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. Hey, Marquise.
Hi, how you doing, Tim?
I'm doing great. Thanks for getting on. I've got my screen up and visible. Are you able to see that?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, very good. Well, just to begin, I guess I want to ask you, how'd you hear about us, our training, and what intrigued you about us specifically?
So, the I saw you guys through Applied. I was looking at one of their trainings or something that they were having, and I just saw uh, your name, the company name, Total CSR, on their page, and I wanted to learn more about it. I was like, oh, that seems interesting, and I just clicked on it, and it happened to be a link that took me to your webpage, and I'm a new agent, and I'm taking over a book, and I have a CSR that I don't think has been formally trained,
Hmm.
and they've been doing the job under a year, and and I just thought it was something I was thinking of them at the time, but as I was looking at the more of the training, it looks like it spans even more, like as the webpage here says, CSRs, agents, training producers. So I was interested in that because I think that training is important, and without that, we're kind of winging it and can make a lot more mistakes, more costly mistakes if we're not trained properly. And I think that I like the ideal of having something, to kind of help onboard people, into a system. Cause I'm in that stage right now with my future team here. So right now they're actually, I've tasked them to kind of gather all the processes that they have currently um, within the office. So we're in the beginning stages of that, and just thought this would be a good added tool as well. But I want to learn more.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we think it definitely can. Yeah, we've helped thousands of agencies kind of in the same spot that you're in. In fact, just so you know, our agency, I'm sorry, owners of Total CSR also own a third generation agency. So family's been in the business for 40 plus years. Justin and Jordan have been running it for 13 years or so. And like every agency out there, they got to be focused on hiring and training. And so it's a continual challenge. It can be frustrating at times. And so it's really from those needs within our own agency that these courses were born and came to be about. You know, we were initially doing all of the training ourselves in-house with our own processes, but that, you know, over time that became very time consuming, it became very costly, lost productivity. So that's what really led to these courses to come out. And yeah, we do have a number of courses available, which we're going to look at. But if I'm a new agency and I just signed up, the first screen to go to is my agency from the upper right-hand corner. And this is the admin page. And so at the bottom of this, this is how we can get a new user started in any one of the courses. And so it's real easy. We just need name, email address, hit the enroll button, and an auto email will go out to that person, and they'll have login information where they can sign into the site, but go down to My CSR, which that's the user side. So we'll pull this up, and so here's all the courses. There's 6 courses in total. Each tab is a different course: commercial lines, producer training, personal lines training. And so typically I start off with commercial or personal lines. Do you have a preference on that?
I'm sorry, where to start?
Yeah.
How about personal?
Sure, you betcha. So I'm on the personalized tab with this course. And if we go to the bottom, we can see there's 14 modules in total to complete it, to finish it all the way through to get our designation. And then how we break that down though, the first 8 modules, these are the main core modules. This is 95% of the content. The last 6 is just follow-up/review modules, no new information. And back to the main modules, the lines of coverage, obviously it's an introduction, and then we do homeowners, auto, dwelling, umbrella, all the way down to flood. So basically 7 main lines of coverage that we're going to train on. And here's how we will train on each of these lines of coverage. So I'll pulled up the homeowners one. It's the first main line there, and that you can look at. So the course index is on the left-hand side. Here's all the sections for this one specifically. And so I'll take you through most of these. I want you to get a good feel for it and see all the activities that a user is going to have to complete. And it'll take me about 10 minutes to work my way through it. But please, if a question comes up, please, you can go ahead and ask it. It's no problem.
Okay.
And so we'll begin first main section. We'll do an introduction. It's a quick 2-minute video. Then our first main section we go into, it's a coverage overview. And so it's these first 6 screens or so and we'll begin. Of course, we got to talk about section 1 and 2, the property and the liability coverages. Before we go into that though, we're going to begin with some lesson terminology, and we're going to be having 10 terms to review. You can see we're using the flashcards for these new terms, and we use flashcards throughout all of our courses. They're very helpful. I can see the definition for all these different terms. What exactly do they mean? So I'll have to click my way through all 10 of them, looking at the definitions. Then I can do a drag and drop exercise right below that, and this is with the definitions of those terms. And so again, just helping it to sink in. I want to remember these as I'm going here. And now I can review each of the coverages. I'll begin. We've got the 5 categories included in section 1, coverage A.
Excuse me, Tim.
Yeah.
So on the definitions, the flashcards are great. And I wanted to ask, where do you guys base the your information from? Like, and what I'm meaning, like, when I was studying through like the Kaplan
Right.
Study guide. Do you guys base it off of that, or what do you base it off of?
No, it's based off general ISO information. And
Okay.
so, yeah, this isn't designed as to help with the pre-license or with the licensing exam.
Mhm.
We're trying to focus really on what your what you're doing within an agency, your real world activities.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So back to the coverages, the 5 main categories. So we're going to review each one. Coverage A, what is it? What's an example of it? Same thing with coverage B. Are there any exceptions to these? So we'll go through all those coverages. Then we get to the liability. There's 2 categories, E and F there. We need to go over each one of those as well, coverage E and coverage F. So just starting to wrap our head around it, get a good feel for it. Also, who's provided coverage? 2 main topics to look at here. And scrolling down, here's the main 3 qualifications for homeowners insurance. Here's our 4 main types of insured. So we've got named and automatic. Those are the first 2. So we're going to look at all 4. We'll define each one. What are they? What's an example of them? Here's automatic insured. So this includes relatives, includes students, full-time, extended, and additional. Then we have a knowledge check here. We'll go through these cards so I can say, okay, homeowner spouse, it's probably going to be named insured, not named. Wait, did that go through? There we go, named insured. Homeowner, that's a named insured too. Dog sitter. Okay, don't think that that's automatic. Maybe it's extended insured. Yep, so we just practicing what we learned there. And now next section is going to be, all right, the factors that help us determine our coverage. And we've got 4 main factors there. The first off, it's the different cause of loss forms. There's 3 main forms, the basic form,
Good.
least comprehensive. We're going to
Yeah,
show all the perils included. Right, but we'll go over basic form and broad form also, how those are different. We'll look at valuation methods. Okay, what is an evaluation method? What are 3 primary types that we need to have a handle on? Defining each one of those, giving an example of each one. And then continuing down, want to go to the different types of dwellings. We've got 3 categories we train on, like single family homes. So as I look at these, there's the different HO forms and coverage forms, whether it's HO2, HO3. What does each coverage do? It looks like HO3 is broader coverage on the dwelling and structures. And so we review and highlight that. Then, of course, you need to know common endorsements and common exclusions. What are they? What do they do to the policy? And so here's some property endorsements to get familiar with. We'll take a look at those. Same thing with the liability endorsements. Need to be familiar with these. Then we'll have a section on deductibles. If we don't know what deductibles are, we'll talk about them, do some examples on deductibles. And now we've gotten to the end of the coverage, first section in the coverage review. So we're going to test our knowledge. This is our first quiz. First off, we have a minimum of 4 quizzes for every line of coverage. We like to test knowledge as we're going, and we require to pass quizzes with 75% or better. Because our goal is to learn and retain this information as we're going, not just to speed through it, skip over it, and not have it sink in. So we passed the quiz, and here, this next section is what we're going to now focus on for the rest of the module. So we call it the CSR support cycle. We break it down. It's these 8 major steps you see listed there.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are the processing, servicing, daily operations as a CSR account manager, and we want to focus on each one of them in more detail. And so I can show you how we do that. Here's step 1, submission information. We'll go into the homeowner quote request. Here's a sample homeowner quote request, and we'll have to review all the different sections by clicking on the green arrows. And I can see the applicant information, the policy information, contact, dwelling details. So I'll go all the way through both pages, all 2 pages of the homeowner quote request. Can save this document as a PDF, so I can save it to the computer, use it later, or just review it later. Carrier website reports are very important too. They're helping us obtain more information, evaluate the properties that we're looking at. So there's 4 reports we're going to review. Here's what we do with each of the reports. First off, the replacement cost estimate. We got a sample of that. what that report actually looks like. So here's page 1 on that. And again, I'll click my way through the different sections so I know what I'm looking at and what the information is. Here's page 2. And then I'll move on to the next one. Here's a sample clue report, and we'll review all the different sections on that clue report. So we got to get a good feel for how these can help us out and how we'll be using them. Then we can move into step 2. This is our comparative rater section. We talk about, so what is a comparative rater? How does it help us? And we're going to have to complete 5 scenarios. So you can see the scenarios on the left-hand side here. Hopefully you can. And so we'll go into the first one. I'll show you. First off, what we're doing with scenarios is training the user how to complete a simulated rater system. So we want to have that. We're doing this to how we want to get that base knowledge, understanding, and once we have, be very helpful within the agency, help us within our growth. Here's how we complete one of these scenarios. First off, we're going to review the documents, review information that are in these documents. Page 1 is the narrative info. Then we're looking at a completed quote request, page 1, page 2. Here's the replacement cost estimate reports and the other reports that we need. Then we can begin, so we'll go into our system, go to each tab, complete the fields underneath each of these tabs. It's a simulated system. Hit submit when we're done, and the goal is to get 95% correct. However, it's going to take us a few times to do that. We won't be able to do that straight off right away. So when I go back in, I'm able to see the fields that are incorrect, so I can find the correct answer from my documents, copy and paste it in, and finish this scenario, and then move on to the next one. And so we're going to go through 5 scenarios in total. So we'll have a lot of practicing with examples, a lot of repetition. And then after going through those 5 scenarios, next off, we're going to talk about, okay, reviewing those proposed quotes, looking at the important information, the premiums, coverages, limits, the endorsement packages, all of it, so we can make the most informed, best decision for our client or our prospect. And so we get comfortable there, then we'll continue on with the rest of the steps of the cycle. We'll go into step 4, which is reviewing quotes. And we've taken, here's a sample homeowner quote. We've got to start to understand, break down all this information. So we highlight it on the right-hand side. We explain each one of those sections, actually what we're looking at, what we're talking about, any math that's on the quote, we're going to review and go over that as well. And then testing knowledge again. So here's the second quiz, but this time it's quotes review quiz. So different topic, different number of questions. Still have to pass that with the same score. And we'll talk about the next step, presenting the proposal and what's included in our proposal. Why do we need to include it? Then we'll move into binding coverage, specifically a bind order. What are we talking about with a bind order? What's included? And now here's step 7, which policy checking. And so we're going to go over all these various parts of the homeowner policy. Scrolling down now, some more terminology first off. And we begin the declarations page. So what information is included in the deck page? What does a sample deck page look like? Here's the actual insuring agreement we'll find within the policy. Then we get into standard definitions from a policy. So what are we talking about there? What do those look like? And standard conditions within a policy too. So how are those different? What are the conditions and samples within the policy? Okay, we've gotten to the last step, supporting the insured. There's 4 topics here. And first off, we'll go ahead, we'll look at the claims process. What do we need to know? What are common claims that we handle for homeowners insurance here, like water damage and freezing, fire damage? We'll look at policy change requests / endorsements. What is a change request doing exactly? What are the guidelines to follow when we have a change request? We'll need to discuss processing a binder, the steps involved in that, and cancellations. When cancellations come up, how do we handle them? What do we need to do? So we're at the end, and the very last activity will be a final exam. So we pulled together 30 questions for the exam, and we have to pass that exam though with a 90%. So quizzes are 75, the finals are going to be 90%. And again, it's just keeping us accountable to learning this information as we're going through it. So it really actually sinks into our head.
Okay.
And okay, so that was overview all the way through the homeowners module specifically. And so you see how it's structured and laid out. All of the main core modules are going to follow that same structure. And all of them, they're going to be similar in their timeline, how long they take. Basically about 7 hours for the main modules each. Average of 7 hours, or basically 55 hours in total, around that total amount of time. Then the follow-up modules, 6 more hours of training there, spreading them out over 6 weeks. So spreading it out 1 hour a week really increases our long-term memory and our retention. And when we've completed a course, and very helpful, we've got a reference library, resource library up here. So I'm pulling this up. This will be available to us. We can type in any line of coverage or topic, and it'll pull the information from our courses. It's available to print, to have a hard copy, email it, maybe send it to a colleague or send it to a client, so we can review that. We can continue to shorten our overall learning curve, learning the information from the courses. And okay, so that's an overview on personal lines. And now just to ask you, so any questions on what we went over there so far?
So when a person receives, and I'm looking at that, right above personal lines tab, complete NSE certificate. So once they pass, that will they receive like a certificate saying that they accomplished that?
Yes, yes, you do get a completion certificate for going all the way through the courses.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good about that one. So I was looking at the other tabs, commercial, and I see, is the other one commercial coverage?
Yes, this is
Right.
our new course that's coming out in just a few weeks. Right, so this is going to be in-depth coverage training. It's going to be the 6 main lines of coverage. They're not all showing, but it will have all 6 of them. And the idea is to really supplement. We've got the CSR training where we review the coverages, but we want to dive deep, really, if we need to make that information available for users in the coverage course.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was gonna ask kind of like what the difference was between those two tabs, and I guess I was gonna ask about additional, like where I don't remember seeing anything about like life or health. If you guys were planning on diving into that.
We do go in the group benefits course. We do train on medical insurance and dental, life insurance, basically all the group benefits.
Okay.
So it's part of that, but it's not exclusively on life and health.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Producer training, this is going to be sales training specifically for new agents and new producers. So we focus on sales activities and sales processes. Very excellent. That's a very good course. And then soft skills, this is going to be critical business skills needed in a corporate environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so we look at things like business writing, telephone etiquette, so on in all 5 of these modules.
Okay. No, I like it.
Very good. Very good. We like to hear that. Let me go up to the pricing tab and review this with you.
Okay.
It's on our website too, in case you haven't seen it. We have a couple different ways to pay. Each way, it's a 1-year contract. So monthly, $249 times 12 would be $29.88. But if you can pay it up front, you save $1,200, which makes it $17.88 for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we getting? We get 1 user at a time. We're not limited to 1. It just only means 1 person training at a time. Can't have more than that. We have the admin user, which is usually the principal or owner. We have the reference library, and we get all 6 programs. So that's what's going into you. That's what you're getting for your $17.88 for the year.
So Tim, real quick, when you said access to all programs, Does it include the ones you guys are currently working on once you put those into production?
Yes, those are included for no additional cost. Like I said, like commercials coming, the coverage is coming out in just a few weeks. There's also going to be a personal lines coverage course, which will be included for free.
Okay. All right. And I noticed you were saying for the one active user, um, it really seems like, you can have an account, but, and forgive me for, I'm just trying to make sense of it, but multiple people could probably use that same account to train. Um, but if I want to have, if I have a producer and a CSR, to like show that they, from accountable standpoint, um, their certificates, it's probably best that they have, we buy more than one, have more than one active user, more than one license.
Uh, yeah, you can do more than one user on just the one, because say somebody finishes the training in 3 months and they might get their certificate. That's great, but we're going to remove them, and then that seat is open for somebody else, and the system will track the new person based off email address.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's the pricing, so forth. And okay, from here, let me go back to just the main education page. Um, I've gone over everything I wanted you to see. So just be if you want to look at a different section or any other questions that you have for us.
Um, how about the bottom? I went down and I was looking, I saw the reviews. I was looking more at where people can comment. I see that you guys have that, which I think is great. From an agent perspective, from uh, maybe a producer. Um, let's see down, yeah, one of the,
Testimonials?
well, I saw testimonials, but down even further, yeah,
Oh,
with
yeah.
I think the articles and like the ebooks.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
That's all free.
yeah, so yeah, you guys develop the ebooks and put those out, and um, how often do you foresee you guys doing those?
Oh, yeah. We'll be doing those probably once a month, once every couple months, and we're going to be adding a lot of additional content that will be helpful for agency owners and agency users. So we're going to be migrating to a new system where we're going to have assessment tests that are available for either new or existing people. We're going to have more HR functions and tools that are available, as well as just the training in our courses. So it'll be additional stuff that's available on top of the courses.
And for the articles, um, what's kind of like the process? Like, how do you guys take articles from your company, or is it from various different
Yeah,
companies?
it's from our company because we have, well, first off, we have our principals do a independent agent podcast. So they take the podcast and put it into blogs, and then they'll take a lot of the information, which will get made into an ebook. We also have a director of social media and marketing. And so she creates the ebooks as well. She hasn't done all these because she's only been with us a few months, but she did the agency accountability, managing virtual teams, fighting turnover. She's done the last three. So
Okay.
she'll continue to develop that content on her own.
Okay. Now, going back to the articles, are you all open to like if someone would like to publish an article, or is it just really contained in house with you guys? And I'm just looking at opportunities. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in-house stuff. I'd have to check with our principals.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just was checking. I saw that, and I think it's a great idea. Um, but
Yeah.
it made me think about the ability to publish articles as well. If
Right.
that was an opportunity, and later down the line. Okay.
Okay, Marquise. I'm sorry, I've got to wrap it up just because I have another demo in about five
Okay.
minutes.
Yeah.
But kind of what you can tell me what the next step should be going from here.
Well, Tim, I'm in the process of developing my operating budget right now, and I wanted to get the demo and just kind of look at it, and I like it so far. And I just want to, I'm just going to think about it a little bit more, review it a little bit more, and determine if I'll be able to add it to my operating budget.
Gotcha. No, that makes total sense. I'll send you a follow-up email. I'll send you our course flyer. If you'd like a copy of the demo, I can send that over to you as well. Just let me know.
Yeah, no, that would be great if you could send that.
And yeah, I will definitely do that. I'll send
Yeah,
that over to you, Marquise. No
get some
problem.
feedback.
And then, yeah, you review it, take a look at it, and we'll go from there.
Okay, Tim. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a great day. Take
You
care.
too. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.